Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, before we proceed any further, big shout out to my channel sponsor, Fighting Mad, the pound for pound kings of boxing apparel. If you like the shirt you see to my right or to my left, you can find those exact shirts and many more just like them at the official Fighting Mad website. I'll leave the link for you guys right over here. Now, with that being said, let's get into one of the most blatant and horrible, piss poor robberies I have ever seen in the sport of boxing. I mean, this is one of the worst robberies you will ever see in your life. And that robbery comes in the form of John Ryder versus Callum Smith. Now, Callum Smith is a fighter that is in the running for a Canelo fight. He is one of those names that is in the running for a Canelo fight. And I fully anticipate that after that performance, he might just be Canelo's next opponent. I would not be surprised if they bring him over to Vegas and that's Canelo's next opponent, because he looked like absolute crap in that ring tonight. Trash, just utter trash against John Ryder. But it pisses me off because I know it, you know it, and we all know it, that John Ryder won that fight. We all know John Ryder, not only did he win that fight, but he thoroughly whooped, beat down, and on the night, outclassed Callum Smith. He made Callum Smith look like a C-class fighter, all right? And I'm going to say it because it seems like nobody in the UK boxing establishment will say it. They want to massage his earlobes. They want to give him a pat on the back. They want to say this. They want to say that about Callum Smith. But I'm gonna say it. Callum Smith is a freaking hype job. He is a hype job. He's a hype job. And I mean, this is a guy in Callum Smith who first of all, he shouldn't even be fighting at super middleweight. This guy is one of the biggest weight bullies in boxing. No doubt about it. This guy is one of the biggest weight bullies in boxing. He's a 6'3" super middleweight, and I've physically seen him in person. When I interviewed Tony Bellew a couple years ago at the WBC convention here in South Florida, Callum Smith was there, and I saw him, and he was big. He was taller than Tony Bellew. He was taller than Tony Bellew. So you get this tall, lanky ass guy fighting at a weight class he should be fighting at. He should be either fighting at light heavyweight or cruiserweight, not super middleweight. And you can see how weight drained he is in the ring. Anybody can see that. But John Ryder. Let's talk about John Ryder, because this guy right now, when you look at this guy's career, John Ryder, he's the freaking Adrian Granados of the UK. He is the Adrian Granados of the UK. There's no way to put it more than that. He is the Adrian Granados of the UK. Because just like Adrian Granados, this guy has been in big fights with notable opponents. Just to educate you guys, my American audience, who don't know as much about John Ryder as some of my British subscribers. He's boxed Billy Joe Saunders, lost a unanimous decision to him. He got stopped by Nick Blackwell. R.I.P. Nick Blackwell, by the way. R.I.P. to him. Got stopped by Nick Blackwell in 2015. Lost to Jack Arnfield. Had a split decision gift of a win, or he lost via split decision to Rocky Fielding, and Rocky Fielding got a gift in that fight. And you already know how I feel about Rocky Fielding. Rocky Fielding is he's barely a C-class fighter. Honest to God, barely a C-class fighter. Got a Canelo fight, got embarrassed. Not really big on Rocky Fielding, honestly, as a fighter. So he got a gift. Fielding got a gift over him in that fight, and then he fights Callum Smith for the world titles, and Callum Smith wins that fight via a gift. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch some of those other fights that I haven't heard as much about. But I know about the Fielding fight because I've heard people say that that was a good decision, and I know that this fight Callum Smith, because I watched it, it was a good decision. So he's getting robbed left, right, and center. And honestly, like it's a damn shame. It is a damn shame that you get a guy like John Ryder, who puts in the hard work, who works hard, who puts his best foot forward in the gym and in the ring to go in there and win some titles, but he got robbed against Rocky Fielding, and he should have been the British super middleweight champion. Didn't get the chance to be called that. They gave it to Rocky Fielding. Then he boxes Callum Smith for the World Championship, the WBA World Championship at super middleweight. Could have really changed his career and changed the title of everything going on in his life with that win. But no, we can't do that. We can't do the simple thing and give the guy who won the fight the decision. No, we got to give it to Callum Smith. We got to give it to Callum Smith because there's a 10% chance he might fight Canelo. But you know what? After a performance like that, let's bump him from 10% up to like 57%, because it's getting ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. This guy is a hype job, and I hate using that word. I barely ever use it, but this guy is a hype job. because he is not as good. He is not anywhere close to being as good as Sky Sports and Eddie Hearn and the UK Matchroom Boxing Establishment want us to think he is. He's not. No two ways about it. He's not. You got and you know what? Like I want to really call out Tony Bellew for a second because he was fucking ridiculous. Excuse my language. He was ridiculous. I'm gonna call out Tony Bellew because listen, Tony. I love Tony Bellew. Towards the end of his career, he became one of my favorite fighters. I made no secret of that, and he's a fellow Evertonian. We both support Everton Football Club. So I always love Tony for his fights and for our love that we share for Everton Football Club. But as far as his boxing punditry during the Callum Smith fight, absolutely abysmal. Abysmal. It was shocking. It was ridiculous. It was crap. It was piss poor. Any negative adjective that I could use to describe his punditry and his commentary during the Callum Smith fight, let's use that because it was ridiculous. He's over here talking about Callum Smith is the best super middleweight in the world, and Canelo's not gonna want to fight him. Stop it, Tony. Stop it. Lay out the ganja. Lay out the ganja. Lay out the drugs. After that fight, Canelo is probably on the phone right now with Eddie Hearn to make that fight. And I've said it once and I'll say it again. All right, because people always say, Brendan, what do you think about Canelo versus Smith if it happens? I've always said, if Canelo fights Smith, then he's gonna beat Callum Smith. And I'll even go further. If he fights Callum Smith, he's gonna knock Callum Smith right out of his shoes. Because listen, Callum Smith is he's a guy who's a weight bully. He's trying to be a weight bully. And it's worked for him most of his career, but I think he's reached that point where he's weight trained and he can't do it no more. He got pushed around and bullied by John Ryder. He's lucky that John Ryder. He's very, very lucky and very, very fortunate that John Ryder is not a big puncher. Otherwise, he would have got beat down and folded up like a blue steel chair, like back on Friday Night SmackDown back in the day. Word to my man The Rock and Chris Jericho. Would have got folded up. You know what I'm saying? So he's very lucky for that. But I'm telling you right now, he fights Canelo, he's going to sleep, and he's gonna get he might have his boxing career ended by Canelo. And I know that sounds harsh, and maybe it sounds like I'm being a bit emotional. No. Absolutely not. It's not me being emotional. This guy is a full-fledged cruiserweight fighting at super middleweight. Okay, he is a weight bully, and he's killing himself to make the weight. And on top of that, when you kill yourself to make the weight in boxing, you suck the fluid out of your brain. Okay, you suck the fluid out of your brain, and your punch resistance can go down when you are weight trained. I'm telling you, when he fights Canelo, that's all going to get exposed, and he's running the risk. If he continues fighting at super middleweight, he is running the risk of getting himself seriously and severely hurt. And I don't wish bad on no fighters. So, for his sake, move your ass up to light heavyweight. But we know you don't want to do that. We know Eddie Hearn, the matcher, don't want to do that because we know what's going to happen if he goes up to 175 and fights at light heavyweight with the likes of Bivol and Sergey Kovalev and Gilberto Ramirez and Joshua Buatsi and Artur Beterbiev and Alexander Vasek. He will get folded up and exposed if he fights any of those guys. And you know, when we talk Callum Smith, when he fought George Groves, I think he was very fortunate that George Groves came into that fight with an injury. You know, he came into that fight with an injury. I believe he had injured his shoulder during the Chris Eubank Jr. fight. And then the fight before that, when he fought Nishiki Holskin as a late replacement because Jürgen Bremer had to pull out because he was injured. You know, I think he's even lucky that Jürgen Bremer pulled out. Jürgen Bremer might have beat him, might have given him some serious problems. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just unimpressed with Callum Smith. I'm sick of the ridiculous punditry and commentary by Tony Bellew. It's absolutely abysmal. It's horrible. It's piss poor. It is a piss stain on boxing when Tony Bellew is commentating about fighters from Liverpool. He's too, and the reason I'm saying that is, listen, I respect his boxing mind. I think he does know a lot about boxing. I mean, Tony Bellew was a world champion, and he was a guy that didn't have all the ability in the world, so he wouldn't have become world champion if he didn't have a boxing IQ. But his Scouse bias, his Liverpool bias is so blatant when Liverpool fighters are fighting on matchroom cards. His bias is ridiculous. And to call this guy the best super middleweight in the world is an absolute joke. It is a joke. It's a joke. I mean, I never thought he was better than Benavidez, and I never thought he was better than Caleb Plant. But now I know he's not better than Benavidez or Caleb Plant. No way, no how. And if he fights Canelo, his career will get ended. So, it's unfortunate for John Ryder because, you know, the scorecards were extremely wide. You know, he had it. One judge had it 117, 111. It was a clear This horrible scorecard. John Ryder is somebody that, you know, he's basically John Ryder's career. He's literally the Adrian Granados of England. John Ryder should be called the British. He should have been called British champion because he beat that club fighter Rocky Fielding. Rocky Fielding, club fighter. He beat Rocky Fielding. Then he fought Callum Smith, a guy who is a weight bully. And if he fought at his natural weight class, he'd probably be a club fighter too. So I'm very unimpressed with pretty much almost every Liverpool fighter I saw on that card. Anthony Fowler is another one. Anthony Fowler, he's even worse than Callum Smith, you know? So I'm not going to call these guys bums because they're fighters, and I respect the fact that they put their lives on the line and go in the ring, and, you know, I respect what they're doing, but it's just absolutely hype jobs. Hype jobs up and down the damn matchroom boxing card on Saturday between Callum Smith and, you know, Anthony Fowler, and, you know, Callum Smith getting good decisions out here. I'm just not impressed, and if I hear every time I hear Tony Bellew or Eddie Hearn talk about this guy being the best super middleweight in the world, I'm going to call him out on it because it's utter bullshit. It's the biggest bullshit in boxing, honestly, truthfully. I'm looking at the camera. I'm looking right into the camera. Eddie Hearn and Tony Bellew. It is the biggest bullshit in boxing that you guys call this guy the best super middleweight in the world. That you guys walk around and parade as if he's this special fighter when he hasn't done anything in his career. He beat an injured George Groves. Looked like crap against a late replacement in Nishiki Holskin. Got a gift against John Ryder. I'm very unimpressed with Callum Smith. So this was one of the worst robberies for sure. This is going to be my 2019 robbery of the year. It might even be. I mean, it's up there for robbery of the decade. That's how bad this fight was. I mean, this guy Callum Smith had a 6-inch reach, a 6-inch height advantage, and John Ryder was constantly the whole fight closing the gap, landing great shots to the body, landing straight left hands right down the pipe. Backing him up, being the ring general, showing effective aggression, and making Callum Smith miss quite a lot. So I'm very unimpressed, and just when I think boxing can't have even worse robberies, I see this, and you know, it's the robbery of the year. It is definitely the robbery of the year. It might even be the robbery of the decade. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Unfortunately, I give my best to John Ryder because John Ryder deserved the win, and he showed the heart of a champion tonight. I'm gonna go back and watch some of his older fights that I haven't seen before, like against Rocky Fielding, which I hear was a gift. And it's not surprising based on what I've seen from Rocky Fielding in this fight and what I've seen from John Ryder in the fight with Callum Smith. I could see Rocky Fielding getting absolutely folded up by Callum Smith and getting, or Callum Smith, John Ryder and getting a good decision. You know, let's see what was that fight at? Oh, the fight was Liverpool. That fight was in Liverpool, just like this one was at Liverpool. That fight was at the Echo Arena. This one was at the Echo Arena. So John Ryder got robbed of the British and world titles in the same city at the same arena by the same promoter. Fucking ridiculous. Get out of here.